Hi guys, this is Emnel, and we are back playing Imperator Rome. Last episode we finished our first war, so let's focus a little bit on internal affairs, because they really kick into a high gear once you conquer some land. I think the most important thing to touch upon is pop happiness and pops as a whole. So we already know there are 4 strata. There are citizens, freemen, tribesmen and slaves, and every single pop will have a calculated level of happiness based on several factors. And it works, it does 2 things. First of all, an average happiness of your strata is calculated, and that is used to determine how much stuff all the pops of that strata will produce in that specific city. Let's take Neapolis as an example. So here we have citizens, and we see there are 3 Hellenistic civilians and 1 Jewish Hebrew pop here. And the average happiness is only 32. And that is a basis that is used to calculate what output those guys will provide. So they only at the moment produce about a third of what they could due to their happiness. And this is actually a pretty easy math, but you can see that 5% bonus our console provides, mostly because it's like one, probably because of a trait. National citizen output when he is a ruler. So we can easily see that it's not additive, it's multiplicative. So if it was additive, our output would be 37.8, but it only multiplies the basis that we get from average happiness. So all the possible output bonuses in the world will not help you as much as happiness bonuses. Now, let's take so that's the first thing that this does. Second is the fact that every single pop that is below 50% will contribute to provincial unrest. So here it doesn't matter if it has 4% or 42%. It will it will count as unhappy pop. The most difficult ones to keep happy are citizens, because their base happiness is 20. Freemen are next with 25, and both tribesmen and slaves start at 100, with a caveat that tribesmen get less and less happy as the civilization value goes up. So we have 30, so half of that is counted as a malice to tribesmen. That will lower the output, and once we reach really high amounts of civilization, that will make them rebel. With citizens, it's the other way around. The more civilization we have, the happier they are, and it's even more powerful because it's 1-to-1. So 30 civilization plus 30. Now, you can see that the fact that those aren't of a Roman culture, they're of the same culture group, Latin one, is hitting us hard, and what adds to that is aggressive expansion. So aggressive expansion is quite different to what it does in other Paradox games. Sure, it makes other people not like you, but that's less of a problem. There aren't that kind of coalitions that can hit you because of aggressive expansions. It will not wreck your core population either, because as you can see, only wrong culture and wrong cultural group pops will be affected by it. So, as you can see, and we have -8% here due to our aggressive expansion. Problem is, we do want to have aggressive expansion because, well, we want to expand, which is why we want to turn all the non-Roman pops into Roman pops when possible. It's much worse for from pops from cultures other than from other culture groups like Hebrews. And in this case, as you can see, not only it adds additional it's 20% rather than it's 30% rather than 10, and the aggressive expansion counts twice as hard. So here they are of the wrong religion too, which adds additional 15% malus. But as you can see, the problems with that are caused by the wrong culture are much bigger than the ones caused by the wrong religion. In fact, as you can see, the total malice caused by the wrong religion, wrong culture, I'm sorry, is high enough that if we were to change their culture, they would be actually content. They would be slightly above 50%, assuming our tyranny would be enough. So that's why if we have like right here, we will have pops that are of different wrong culture group and wrong religion. Same goes with Hebrews, but yeah. So in a province such as this, we want to focus on turning them into Romans first, and then, if we feel like it, we can change their religious status. Just keep in mind that the religion affects the power of your omens. So you have religious unity, and the less it is, the less powerful your omens are. This percentage is basically a base used here. So it's good to consider. It's good to be to have a high unity, but it's not nearly as important as having happy pops. Now, when it comes to assimilating pops and converting pops, you can do it manually. Just pay the fee and click the button, and they will change outright, assuming your province isn't disloyal. But it's pretty damn expensive. As you can see, if we want to change one pop, it's 20 per pop, as it turns out. So, not that great. However, we already talked about it. We can switch governor policies, and that will only cost us, in this case, 45. It will get cheaper later on with inventions and us becoming a greater power. So, for Corsica, which has the serious problem, again, no one is Roman here, right? And most of them are of different culture groups. We are definitely going to change this to a cultural assimilation. If we take a look, we have quite a high unrest. We added to it, sadly, by getting cultural assimilation, but most of it is due to unhappy pops, and we are fighting to remove that. This unrest will, as you can see, lower all the things pretty significantly that are produced in the province, but will also lower provincial loyalty, which may be problematic. Sadly, we cannot see it from this screen for whatever reason. To see provincial loyalty, we can either go to Nation Overview or select this map mode, and you will see that the provincial loyalty is tanking slowly but surely. So here we definitely want to switch it around. I think we've already switched it. Here, paying tyranny. We will want to do the same thing around here, because those, as you can see, we need to fix those, or we will suffer increasing problems around here. Not nearly as much when it comes to slaves and whatnot, but yeah, we definitely want that. So might as well spend that loyalty and points to change the cultural assimilation. There we go. And this is a problem with tyranny. Okay, so this is Cliff Notes when it comes to that. Keep your pops happy, and if you want to expand, it's a paradox game, you want to paint a map red, or whatever color you are, you want to change the culture of your pops to your own. So, Romanization across the board. Some nations can skip that process. Egypt, for example, has a number of bonuses that allow you to survive the fact that, like, most of your population is of a different culture group. So here you have Blood of the Lagid, which gives, among other pretty important things, wrong culture group happiness plus 15%. Also, there are other bonuses to similar effect that Egypt can get, which allows them to survive actual expansion while having most of your pops of different culture. So, but as Rome and as many other nations, it's important to consolidate your gains before venturing forward. Too much, at least. It's even worse as Carthage, but we'll get to that when we play Carthage. Now, next thing, we have 100 civic power, so we could pick an invention, which is, always nice, but we also have an unused trade routes in our capital. So I guess let's talk a little bit about this. We already discussed that the things produced, so things here produce surpluses. And as you can see, we have some surpluses like cloth, for example. We would be able to have a surplus of cloth, which would give us oratory power. But actually exporting this is better in this case because it will help us with all the research, not just oratory research. So we'll get cash as well. So we are actually exporting some cloth. But we could, for example, hope to, for example, get grain or horses, or since we have 2 trade routes available, we could actually import 2 pieces of something, like, I don't know, marble, if it's available, to be able to get that surplus. And marble would be nice because, we would get monthly tyranny. Let's take a look. Okay, so there's only 1 piece available, and it's actually from our own province, which doesn't make sense because we don't want to get that. We want someone to buy it off us to get that monthly tyranny we want. Sadly, not much else is available here. If we take a look, our increase in diplomatic range didn't help us with getting Egypt. Not quite. So we'd have to expand southwards for that to become a thing, sadly. So not much else to get. Like, we could get base metals, but it's not amazing. We could get olives, which would increase slave happiness and in turn increase our income. Because if you remember, slave happiness affects output. Basically, it more than bonuses of output themselves, as we just mentioned. So yes, let's do that, and we want to buy it from abroad, which is always a bit risky because it may lead to them cancelling it, like they did with grain earlier, and we would waste those 25 points we spent on it. But yeah. I think we'll keep the other road open because it's just not worth it to get that percent cohort recruit speed here. Also, it's good to keep in mind that we could actually switch this if we had rather power to trade routes and get 1 more, but we'll need to deal with some problems with pops around here first. Now, we may want to build a marketplace here. I think that would increase civilization value, which in turn would make our citizens like us more, and also would increase local tax and commerce income, both very important in this case. It won't help us with our manpower, but we already have quite a lot of training camps here, and we are actually pretty good on manpower, all things considered. So let's invest in a single marketplace here. So this will basically increase our level beyond the maximal one. As you can see, maximum civilization level in Rome is increased by 1 by the marketplace we already have. Okay, I think that's about it for now. Let's unpause, and we are still at worry here. How does it look? Doesn't look well. There are pirates here. This is and I doubt we can get so let's see this province. This is hills. They can probably defeat this army here because those are just some tribesmen, but they have great general, so we'll see. Also, I think all of our subjects and whatnot will be part of this war, so I think we'll just sit back because no one is going to give us access here. Nope, not a chance. So yeah, hopefully our subjects can get access, and not sure if that's possible. I think they can, and get there. So let's unpause. Once again, check this. Everywhere we yeah, we'll want to change this acquisition of wealth to something else later on. Probably same in Arentiu. Let's see, what do we have here? Hellenic Roman, Hellenic Roman, Hellenic Roman. Actually, that's not bad. Hellenic Roman, 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 Roman. Okay, so that's okay for now. Should also. So problem with this war is, however, we are not going to lose any. Where is it here? An aggressive expansion. We are not at peace, but it's not bad right now. And someone probably wants. Okay, we're not counter-exporting base metals. Okay, so Tuskia, we don't. We already discussed that we don't really care enough for base metals to actually import them here. So we are going to export them, get that 5% bonus instead of 10% and some cash. And that's what we're waiting for. Someone wants to buy our marble, which will actually increase our monthly tyranny decrease by 50% from 2 to 3, if I recall correctly. Yep. So we could get it higher if if our ruler was more popular, but well, here we are. Tyranny is a major problem for quite a few governments. Autocratic forms of government, like aristocratic monarchy, has minus 0.1, which is they from the get-go get 5 times more decrease, 5 times higher decrease, well, 6 times if they count the base. So they can switch around governors willy-nilly, which we need to be very careful about, because unlike aggressive expansion, tyranny actually affects our primary population. So it has some bonuses as well, such as national slave output. But if you remember from the moment ago, the fact that they will have lower happiness, most of the time will not help here. The output will be outweighed by the loss of happiness. Unless, which is probably, okay, so we decided let's actually see, maybe something will show up. Not quite, like nothing interesting. We could like look through our provinces. What are we selling anyway? Like, is there something that we are selling that we would want to keep? No, there isn't. Like all the things are better sold, and we already have olive surplus, so we don't care for the next one. So we are going to pick an invention. I think we are going to go for either Omen Power for additional growth, or let's go with technology speed. So time to think long term, and I think this is, this would benefit us more than just, I don't know, 0.01 technology speed that it will get. Speaking of research, if you hover here, you will see what each level does, but also what 3 inventions it will unlock for us. So here, once we reach level 1, we'll get supply access to supply limit, siege ability, and heavy infantry discipline ones, which all 3 are pretty damn amazing. So we want to keep that in mind, because when we get to level 2, those will be hidden behind those we will get for level 2. So, for example, if we were not to take any of those, we would have to pick some of those 3, those new 3, to even have access to the ones below them, so to speak. So sometimes it may be problematic when you are researching faster than you are getting civic power. But well, it's not terrible problem most of the time, but something to keep in mind. Now we do have that aggressive expansion, and one thing that we could do to fight it is changing our diplomatic stance. We start with bellicose stance, which cheapens the claim fabrication, which we don't need at the moment because we got claims from the event, but also lowers the war score cost. So if we are fighting in a big war, sometimes, for example, you can switch it on the fly too. So if you're in a war and you just cannot fit all you want to take within the war score, within 100 war score, you can actually switch to bellicose stance. Okay, we'll have to wait till we have 100 till we are able to actually take advantage of that. Okay, this is not looking well for our friends here, and I think they... where are they moving those troops? Okay, so an event first. As many of the more veteran members of our blessed political institution know, youth is a wonderful state of joy, experience, and most importantly, gullibility. Sulpicia Prima has recently emerged fresh-faced into the political scene, espousing rhetorics of the mercantile faction. Like vultures to the cause, desperate to sway Sulpicia Prima to their cause, have descended, each using their cunning to try to recruit her. Okay, so we can step in and convince... why would he convince her to go to become a military faction? Oh, okay. That should be military faction here. If we want to interfere, or I guess she's of a mercantile faction, but the vultures that stepped, okay. Or we can spend a lot of oratory power to make her more make her more likely to side with the mercantile faction, which is like, in case of her, it's kind of pointless, because I mean, sadly we are playing a nation that cannot assign women to important positions, so that won't really affect anything. But if, for example, there was some young general or statesman of godly stats that was convinced to be a part of populist faction, we may want to do that. Apparently cost is based on the differences between our oratory power, our charisma, which are non-existent, so base cost is 100. As you can see here, this is the character has those convictions right here, and they will go up and down based on the different things. So in this case, we don't interfere, and she'll go to the military faction, and we don't really care. About the sword, let's think. Sadly, we could build some triremes. How expensive would that be? So if we build like 4 more triremes, we can get, that's a single export, really. Because sending our troops piecemeal there against 20k is not a great idea. But 8k a piece, not bad. Okay, you know what? Let's do it, and if we happen to be able to afford helping them, once we get that, we do it. Alright, because we need to go to the port, Ostia, right here. Okay, this annoys me more than that it should, but Ostia is right here on the south bank of Tiber. Unless the mouth of Tiber changed. This is where the Fiumicino airport is. So this is like Ostia Antica is like this whole city is dug up, ready to be sightseed and whatnot. So it should be on the south parts of the Tiber. I'm pretty sure that's how it was. And that the way of the river haven't changed, but maybe. I'll double check it. So I'm not making a fool of myself, but I'm pretty sure it was always on the south side of the Tiber, and on the north side there were salt deposits, which actually I think is correct. No, it's iron here. Interesting. Maybe salt is here? Interesting. I mean, details, who cares? So none of my allies are helping, and Syracuse put its army here for whatever reason. I don't get it. And this is what? Probably a slave revolt. That's not looking good. I'm not sure what Syracuse is thinking. Do I have like an army that requires attachments? Can I sue for peace somehow? Yeah, this may prove problematic. Okay, so I'm not the... Alright, they cannot open anything of mine. Can I, like, piece out of it? 65... Problematic. Nothing else, nothing else. Okay, let's think about our next word, however. So, we are working on getting our population culture situation fixed. So there's no real reason to wait for this this aggressive expansion to go down. We do have claims, so it's just about our actual power here. And if our factions, if factions are for it, so it's probably, let's take a culture map mode. So Samnian Latium culture, which is, you know, the easier one to integrate and less problematic when it comes to unhappiness, is around here. So we could go for the Ligurian culture here. Okay, so another important thing when you are planning your conquest is, of course, the resources, and you need to look at them twofold. So, for example, right here, this province, we have half of this province, right? We have those 4 out of 5, and what we see here that we produce olive, precious metals, which is nice. This local citizen happiness, yada yada, marble, and salt. So, but we can also see that this province as a whole, if we owned it, would produce actually 2 salt, which would allow us to either export some or, in this case, export some back to Rome to get surplus, because Rome produces a single salt. And we will also get a surplus of iron, which we could then export and get additional 5% infantry discipline on the top of, you know, cash for exporting those things. So this is a good way good thing to look at when you are thinking about fighting somewhere. So, but this is a bit annoying. So we would have to fight this nation, Fritania. They don't have any. They don't have any. Anyone around here, so this is actually, you know, slam dunk. This is another province, but we kind of probably want to fight a little bigger war. We have a lot of allies, so our vassal swarm will be quite helpful. They are with Sabinia and Ancona. So we would be able to get most of this territory around here. And the last thing here, so some force would be nice. What is around here? Mostly wood. You can see, you can look through it like this, or you can use this. But sadly, there are as you can see, you can look at the borders, but only borders of countries, not borders of provinces. So it's difficult to gauge what is where, because, for example, like right here, so if you wanted to like export livestock, that looks like 2 provinces of livestock, but they are in separate provinces, which doesn't produce surplus. So yeah, keep that in mind. So fighting those guys, oh wow, they are in deep trouble. Only 4 cohorts, so we could just sweep through them. They're in with Ancona and Sabinia, so yeah, that looks nice. Some dice. Yeah, not much in terms of fortresses, right? So this one and okay, what are they building? Oh, they're building another fort here. And they're actually building a new one, which would be problematic. So if we want to go against them, we should probably do it now. Let's look at the terrain. There will be some mountains here? No, actually no mountains. There's one mountain for here, which is always a pain. Yeah, well, yeah, I think we want to strike when they are weak. So let's position this army here to attack this. Let's see. We kind of want to take this army back. Sectarians. Yeah, I think we have to, you know, let this be. Well, our allies seem to be moving a little bit. So that's good. Okay, let's actually look at this bloody war. Who are they fighting? Okay, so those are Syracuse and allies. Our allies aren't helping there. Yeah, let's focus on our stuff. Like Syracuse were 4, Syracuse were 4. 4 or not, but yeah, we don't really care. We'll deal with whoever survives. So one more look here, however. Maybe we would want to. This is a bit more. I mean, not much, but I think like getting the center of Italy fixed is probably a good way to go about it first. It's mostly Latin and mostly Hellenic, so it should be easier to integrate. Okay, so where do I want this? We definitely want to capture this, so let's move it here. And you guys want to strike against that, so we can just move this here and there from the get-go, and you can support them either way, and you guys are moving there to pick those guys up on the 6th. So let's okay, we'll talk about the loyalty of troops later on, because we are running out of time in this episode. My voice is somehow still alive, just a little bit, so let's at least start a war first, shall we? Here we could probably. Okay, let's do this one manually. And does it finish 2nd of September? I mean, we could like wait for it and get it, but it's pointless. We don't really want to have a fortress here. I mean, hopefully will never be useful, because I mean, we don't plan on getting sieged around here. I mean, okay, it would, if someone lands here, it would prevent them from going through the Apennines. Yeah, but no, we'd rather abort this fort. Yeah, we could either land in. Oh yeah, well actually yeah, we have a port here, so let's land in this port, and we can switch to naval landings. And you guys want to move here as well, and you can also move there. I think we are founding our military proper. Yeah, we haven't done like a weird stuff. We lowered fort maintenance, but I don't think we are going to be besieged here. we may or may not actually. Okay, keep in mind that this might actually turn out more difficult than it looks. Oh, interesting. So those guys actually left this defense league. Huh. I kinda want them both. So for the first year, they can actually ally other places as well. So keep that in mind, because your war may grow more than you can bite more than you can chew without knowing it, basically. But I think we will start by going to war with those guys, and then I think we'll consider going to war against the other group, which is those two. Yeah, they are allied. They're allied with Istria. Okay, let's properly look at it. I can't. Okay. We're allied with those guys, and with whom? Sabinia, and where's Istria? Oh, right there, of course. Really, allied? Was I looking at it right? No, I think they're just selling stuff, right? Exporting, yeah, of course, I was looking at it wrong. Okay, so let's finish this episode by... we cannot, or we should not, let's see. Why are you guys on why don't you want rule of finesse? So that's +5. We have low popularity. Target is tribal. Okay. Ruler did not think culture group at the target. Okay, so okay, so that's where the luck comes in, because those guys are from civic faction as well, and that's why our own faction is less likely to support. We could actually make friends with populist faction leader. Can we like declare war on someone else and just get them into the war this way? Not really. Like country already. Right, country already at war. That's a problem. There's bloody war around here. Okay, so I guess we need to... I really don't want to take 5 tyranny for each of those attacks, actually, so... Because I think we are gonna attack two factions. So we are not quite at war yet, not quite at the end of the election date, so what we are going to do, we'll try to make friends with the next big faction, which is the populist faction. And hopefully that will allow us to start those two wars pretty quickly. But we will have to do it in the next episode. So thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and hopefully we'll meet in the next episode. Cheers!